be honest with you guys, okay? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I really did not enjoy this book. Hey guys, how you doing? It is your girl Abia Grant. Welcome to Chapters and Conversations. I hope you guys are doing well and have a blessed and a wonderful day. Today is Saturday, so I have the opportunity to come on and talk to you guys today. This video is going to be a little bit different. So guys, I finally got a little cart to put my books on. My little TBR cart and everything is looking absolutely beautiful. But like I said, this video is going to be a little bit different this week. We actually are going to be doing a spin the wheel, okay? So I went on this website called Wheel of Names where you could actually insert the names of the books or numbers, however you want to do it, for your selection of books. So I figured it would be a good idea to do that. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because I have a tendency just to pick out the book that I really want to read. And I've been having a lot of these books for a minute. So I was like, I need to go ahead and not pick my books that I want to read, allow for somebody else to pick my books. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to go this route. I've seen other videos of people doing this and I was like, it seems so freaking cute. So how I'm doing it is I have a spin the wheel for my physical books, which you see up top. Hopefully you can see that. And then I have another spin the wheel for my Kindle books. Okay, so you see that as well too. And whatever it lands on is what I am actually going to read. And I just hope that I like the book. But before we go ahead and spin the wheel, I want to go ahead and talk about the books that I have completed for this week. So I've actually finished 2 books. If you saw in my last video, I was reading this book called Sparks Fly by Zakiya Jamal, and then I also was wrapping up the book called Where We Found Our Passion by Natasha Bishop. So let's go ahead and get into Sparks Fly, and I actually have some talking points for this book because I'm gonna be honest with you, I expected for this book to have depth to it, and I feel like it didn't have any depth to it. I feel like with 300 pages, you should be able to really explore the characters. And I feel like in this book, we got a lot of information from the MMC, which is Max, but who is Stella? You know, the FMC, who is she? You know, and I felt like in this book, I kept questioning that because what we saw a lot in the book is that she would ask questions about Max, about his childhood, about, you know, how, you know, he grew up, how he was raised and so forth and everything. But it was like, she directed the questions towards him. However, you would think when you're getting to know a person that you would share your experiences, your childhood, your upbringing. And I feel like that wasn't done. I don't know if it was on purpose, you know, where it was only supposed to talk about Max and not talk about Stella, but I just was kind of wondering about that. So let's go ahead and get to some of the talking points that I jotted down. So one of the talking points I wanted to talk about was, where is Stella's backbone? Okay, so we see throughout this book, and I'm going to talk about one part in the book where, and it mentions it here, actually in the synopsis, that Stella decides that she wants to lose her V card. And I didn't mention in the last video that Stella is a virgin. So she decides that she wants to lose her virginity, and she's going to do it with a stranger. Her friend invites her to a sex club, right? And I guess Stella is thinking, okay, she's going to use her virginity at this sex club. But what we also see in the synopsis is that Stella discusses about her friend just goes MIA. You know, And like I said, it goes back to the question on where is her backbone. What I felt like throughout this book is that Stella kept saying that, especially in regards to her friend, and just I think she talked about it like with her job wise, is that she has a habit of, she has an issue, and instead of facing the issue, what she does is she takes that issue and she stores it away somewhere. And my concern that I have with that is, where's the maturity? Yes, and I'm saying, if you are not speaking up for yourself, people will walk over you. And I just was kind of like, what's the point of, in the book, of showcasing this thought process or how you feel, yet you don't really do anything about it. Yet you know it's a problem, but you don't face the problem. You understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of, to me, like, what's the point of mentioning it? You know what I mean? Like, so that bothered me throughout the book. Let's talk about Max. So Max, I like Max, okay? I felt like his character was very much explored. We learned a lot about Max. What we did learn is that Max doesn't want to be stereotyped. We see in the synopsis of the book, it mentions how both Max and Stella are bisexual. He's basically stating, just because you see the outward appearance, or I like sports, or I like mountain climbing, or whatever, doesn't necessarily mean I won't go to, what he said, basically the LGBTQ. All right, guys, I'm back because I was drawing a blank. LGBTQ plus additional alphabets parade, okay? He was like, I will go play basketball. I will go do sports. I will go climb a mountain. But then next week, you may see me at the parade, So I like that, he just didn't want to be put into a box. You understand what I'm saying? And that just really shows his maturity, okay? It really shows his growth. It shows his acceptance for who he is. And it was, nice to read that. One of the other points that I want to mention about Max is, open your eyes. Not everyone can be trusted. So we basically see, I'm not going to give it away, but we see a situation transpire where Max, is faced with the challenges of, what should I do? Or not necessarily what I should do. He knew what to do, but I think that he thought people were a certain way, and then realizing that just because you think this doesn't necessarily mean that is who the person is. Like, people show their true colors, and it's for them to do better. You know what I mean? So that's one of the other points I wanted to discuss. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I wound up giving this book a 3.5. I was thinking between like a 3.25 and 3.5, but I said a 3.5 I feel like is a solid read. I feel like also at the end of this book, what should have been done was there be questions at the end of the book. Especially because a lot of the book did not answer to how Stella is now that she's gone through, the book and situations in the book. Where is she now after the fact? Or what can you do better if you're faced with this particular situation? Because I feel like this book is more catered towards like young adult. I want to say this is not for the 40-year-olds. I in my opinion, I'm 42, but it's very young. It's very young mindset. So I think like a question and an answer would have been very helpful for this book. Even as a 40-something-year-old, like, okay, she was faced with this, but these questions are here to teach the people who are in her age range or Max's age range what to do better. So like I said, that's the book. I digress. let me go ahead and move on to the next book that I read, and that was We Found Our Passion. I wrapped that book up, and I have a couple of talking points here. I just like to write my talking points down because, guys, I be forgetting. I'm gonna be honest with you. I be forgetting names. So, yeah. So the characters are Olivia and Kai, and I've talked about this book in my last review. I really enjoyed this book. This book was a 4.5 stars for me. This book, is by the author Natasha Bishop. Okay, so we all know Natasha Bishop is that girl. Okay, so let's talk about some of the talking points. I have 4 of them. The right people will show up for you. Okay, let's talk about it. We know Olivia is dealing with the challenges of she is interested in soccer. She wants to make a career out of it. It talks about that in the synopsis, I believe. And you know, sometimes the people in your life are not the right people in your life. This is the reason why I always say, like, just because that person is a friend, like say for instance, you have siblings, father, mother, you don't get along with them, whatever. And then you have people that are friends who are more like family than your friend. That is such a beautiful thing to have. And I feel that is what Olivia had. I feel like at some points Olivia didn't realize it. Like she didn't understand I don't want to say the gravity of what she was blessed with, you know. And I feel like at some points she kind of, I want to say not take advantage, but could have did better, you know, could have did better. So next talking point is karma always comes back. I'm a big believer in that, and I'm not going to get into what happens in a book, but we have to think about when we are moving in life that you do wrong, you're going to be punished. It's a matter of time that you are going to be punished. And I don't get it why people move in that way. And we see in this book that karma comes back for one of the characters in this book, and it was like, oh, okay, well, you got what you deserve. So yeah. So let's talk about the next one. Running will not solve the problem. So we see in the book that Olivia, something happens, and Olivia has been running. I talked about this in the other vlog, that Olivia is running from reality, you know, and I feel like there's only but so far you can run to, you know. So face the issues, and I know how tough it could be to face the issues, but when you don't, eventually the wound is going to open up, and then you're going to have to face it. You know, so I feel like that was one of the good things that was explored in the book, that touched on in the book. Like, I really felt like this book was very methodical in how it was laid out. You know, it was like, this situation happened. This was, you know, what was the lesson to be learned. This was the outcome. Very, very well done. You know, Natasha did her thing with this book. So the last talking point is forgiveness and maturity. And we see for Kai is the main MMC, where he has to tap into that forgiveness. But Kai was always, like we saw throughout this book, he was always very accepting. He was always very forgiving for the people that he loved. And I say that, but also I say that there is a situation in this book that does happen where he had to do better with his forgiveness, you know. But overall, he was a very forgiving man. And when I say, you know, talk about maturity, I want to say more so with Olivia, that she had a lot of growing up to do from 12 to 30 something years old. And, you know, she had to face a lot of challenges. Again, I come back to what I said in the first or third talking point, is you can't run from your issues. You know, like, you got to face them. So you got to tap into that maturity. And that maturity is the part of facing the situation. So guys, I did forget to mention, I got a box of books from Amazon. So we're going to open up the books right now. And I already know what they are. Let's just open it up so I can show you guys what they are. And I did add them to my list of spin the wheel. So these may be part of one of the books I have to read. Well, physical. These are physical books. I'm so excited. I'm looking at it right now, guys. I'm so excited. Okay, so the first book that I got is my girl, Natasha Bishop. And I got The Art of Loving You. She did the book 1 week only, if I'm not mistaken. That should be the first book. And guys, I'm so excited. I'm so excited about this book. So let's go ahead and read it. Okay, so it says Danielle Jenkins is a boss, a model turned influencer. She doesn't have time for taking a risk on romance. She prefers to keep things casual, but when her mentor Tanya dies, she is brought face to face with the man who broke her heart. Artist Micaiah Wright is a protector. He loves fearlessly. He's known as the man everyone can count on, but he's never forgiven himself for letting down Dana, the woman he still loves. With Tanya's dying wish forcing Dana, I think it's Danny, and Micah back together to complete a scavenger hunt road trip. Micah sees a second chance for them to get things right. So it says here tensions are high as undeniable connection reunites between Danny refuses to let her guard down as they travel. Micah's determined to prove Danny the love is worth fighting for. Can she release her fears and relearn the art of loving? Guys, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, so let's put that there on the cart. So the next book that I got, and I have been hearing so much about this book. Yes, I had to get it. This is Where the Wildflowers Grow, and this is by Tara Shelton Harris. Everybody in their mama has been talking about this book. And I said, you know what? I need to get the book. I love the sprayed edges. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. Let me go ahead and read the synopsis. So it says here, Lee is last of the wild. She knows this because she watched them all die. Grief nearly truly fades, and even as tragedy haunts, Leah carries on because survival is her blood. So when the transport bus taking her to prison careens off the road, killing everyone on board except her, she does what's in her nature. She survives. While searching for a place to hide, Leah stumbles upon an unexpected sanctuary, a flower farm in rural Alabama tucked away from the world. What Leah doesn't expect is the found family there who have built something from the wreckage of their own lives. Okay. Especially Jackson, the farm's owner, who sees through Lee's defenses after her small moments of tenderness and encourages her to face her own tragedies. Slowly, Leah finds peace with the hard pace and soft nature of the farm, taking comfort in the life blooming around her. Maybe she's not beyond redemption, not too broken for something good, and maybe, just maybe, Leah starts to heal. But the past isn't so easily buried. No matter how far she runs, the truth of who she is and the ghosts of the wilds follow. And when those secrets catch up to her, threatening everything she came to love, Leah will have to truly face what she can't survive. I'm about to start crying. I feel like this book is, I already feel like I'm about to start crying. I feel like this book is going to make me cry. I feel like it's going to make me cry. So, okay. Let's move on. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so the next book that I got is Kin. Again, another one of the books that the girls have been talking about. This is by Tari Jones, okay? And this is also on Oprah's book club as well, too. But we didn't get it because of that. We got it because the girls have been talking about how good this book is, and I was like, I need to read this book. And I was actually going to get this book on Penguin Books, but then I said, you know what? I'm going to buy the book and support the author fully. So let's go ahead and read the synopsis. It says, Vernice and Anna, turned motherless daughters, raised in Honeysuckle, Louisiana, have been best friends and neighbors since early childhood, but are fated to live starkly different lives. Raised by fierce aunt, determined to give her a stable home in the wake of her mother's death, Vernice leaves Honeysuckle Vernice leaves Honeysuckle at 18 for Atlanta, where she joins a sisterhood of powerfully connected Black women and discover a world of influence, manners, aspirations, and inequality. Anna, abandoned by her mother as a child and fixated on the idea of finding her, sets off on a journey that will take her into a world of peril and adversity, as well as love and adventure, culminating in a battle for her life. A novel about mothers and daughters, friendship and sisterhood, and the complexities of being a woman in the American South. Kin is an exuberant, emotionally rich, and unforgettable work from one of the brightest and most irresistible voices in contemporary fiction. I feel like this is probably gonna book that's gonna make me cry as well too, but I don't know yet. Hopefully I don't cry. But those are the books that I got to add to our collection. I'm very excited to get to these books whenever I do get to them. All right, guys, so now it is time to do spin the wheel for our physical books. So we have our physical books here. We have the ones that we added in addition. I will put these up on the rack once because they're in order by last name. So I will add these in a minute, but I'm gonna put them down here for right now. So let's go ahead and do our physical book selection. So we're gonna spin the wheel and we're gonna see what it lands on. Okay, you guys see the book? All right, so we got Walla. So this book right here. This is what we're going to be reading. I have been avoiding reading this book. I'm going to be honest with you. I have been avoiding reading this book, but this is the one that it says we have to read. So that's the one we're going to read. All right, guys. So now it is time to pick our Kindle book. So it's here. So we're going to spin the wheel. I have my iPad here, have the books here. So let's see what book it chooses. Let's see. All right, you guys see the book? Capadonna by Jacquel J. Okay, so I downloaded it. I also have been avoiding this book because this book is a series, and this book is a series. And I was like, do I want to get into this book right now? So let me show you the cover. I have it on my iPad for right now. So that is the cover of the book. And this is book number 1 and series number 2. So we are going to be reading that one. Let me go ahead and remove it so that next month will be, not next month, next week. Because I'll probably finish these books within the next week or so, or 2 weeks. We could then pick our next 2 books. Now, I may be adding my audiobooks because I do audio as well too. However, for right now, I'm not going to add anything because I think I only have like maybe 6 books on there. So, it's not a lot to pick from. But If I later down the road want to add that, then we'll add that to it. So guys, I will likely see you later on. I don't know what other bookish things I'm going to get into this week. I know me and Bae today are going to be heading to the what is it called? Mall. So I think I may peek my head into Barnes and Nobles. I'm gonna peek my head into there. Oh guys, I forgot to mention, I am still reading Misconnection by Tia Williams on my Kindle. So far, I like the book. I think I'm at like a 3.5 right now. It is picking up. I have been found. Because remember in the last video I said I was lost and I may be found. I have been found. Hey guys, how you doing? So I wanted to come on and I wanted to discuss with you guys about the books that I have wrapped up for this week. And I have my talking points and everything. I'm at on lunch right now, so I figured this may be a good opportunity to talk to you guys, just a little bit of a different environment. Hopefully, you know, this is a good clip and you don't get too much of the background noise. So the first book that I have finished was Misconnection by Tia Williams. I actually got this book as an ARC from NetGalley. And I want to say, be honest with you guys, okay? I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really did not enjoy this book. I'm going to keep it real. I did not enjoy this book because I feel like the plot and basically how the story was all over the place. This book was a mix of mystery, romance, stalker, career path, family dynamics. So basically the book is about Sasha, who she takes a flight. She winds up meeting this gentleman. She now is interested in this gentleman. However, once they get off the flight, you know, there's a misconnection, and now she's on the hunt to find this individual. So she's using the PI to find this person. Now, she does know this PI from the past. All right, we back. Sorry about that. I didn't want to get much of the beeping of this truck. Okay, so she's using this PI to find this person that she's met on a flight. The book started off with MMC, which was the person on the flight, and then it quickly turned to the MMC is now the person that's the investigator. And I was like, okay, so who are we talking about? Like, which one is the person that, you know, she's going to be with? Because obviously, you know, this is supposed to be, well, I figure it's supposed to be a romance and everything. And I was just like very confused. Now, the next book that I had read, this is one from Spin the Wheel that I had picked up, was Wahala. I was saying Walla before, but it's called Wahala. And this is by the author Nikki May. And basically this book follows, let me see, Ronki, Boo, Simi, and then we have a new character, Isabel. Basically, Ronki, Boo, and Simi are friends. They're, you know, have their own friend group. Ronki, she is in a relationship and she is looking to get married, have children, and, you know, live that lifestyle. Boo is married. She has a young child. Boo was probably the character I didn't like the most, to be honest with you, because I feel like she had a lot of positives in her life. She had a husband who cared about her. She had a child, you know, that, you know, she birthed, and just how she spoke about that, those relationships were very questionable, you know, for me. And then we have Simi. Simi is married as well too, and she thinks, or her partner thinks, that she is going to be, or they are going to have a child, but she is doing things in order to counteract that, and she's not. Yeah, it's just, again, very questionable situation. Also, she's dealing with imposter syndrome as well too. This is related to like her upbringing and things that, you know, she's dealt with, and trauma and so forth. Then we have a fourth character that comes in. Her name is Isabel. Isabel is, I believe she knew Simi as a child. So that's where, you know, she's kind of like integrated back into the dynamics of the friends, and she's trying to get to know all of these women and everything. So we see that heavily throughout the book. So I started off reading this book, but quickly I turned to the audio version of the book. And the reason why I switched to the audio version was because a lot of the dialect and things or words they would say, I was reading it and I wasn't really interpreting very well what they were saying. And I was like, you know what, I think it's better that I just listen to the audio. I do feel like I better understand it listening to the audio version. Now, this book is from a Nigerian sense of, how can I say, space. Unfortunately, it dealt a lot with colorism, and it just wasn't my cup of tea. I feel like throughout the book, it was constantly mentioned to a point that when I was listening to the book, I was rolling my eyes. Because I was just like, can we have dialogue about something else outside of colorism? Now, some of the things that I did or were, again, more questionable about this book was the girl code. I feel like the girl code in this book was not adhered to. I feel like the way that these women were speaking about each other, again, was very questionable. It just left a distaste in my mouth, and I was just like, really, like, only reason why I'm finishing this book is because I did spin the wheel and I said I was going to read this book. And then one of the other points is I wrote down here, question many of their thinking and when it came to their family. So like I said, Boo, just very questionable individual. I feel like nobody has pushed you to live this life. You've chose this life. You've chose to be married. You chose this lifestyle. And why, you know, certain things that she was saying just left me with a very much of a side eye. The same thing with Simi as well too. I think the character I probably liked the best was Ronki. Ronki was the one that didn't really bring any drama to the girl group. Did she have her situations going on in her life? Yes, but she was like the one that wasn't causing any drama. Isabel, let's talk about her. She was the infiltrated into the group and everything, and you know, I guess this story just will be like a not necessarily a testament, but will be like a learning lesson towards women out there that be careful about the people who suddenly appear back into your life. I feel like a lot of this stuff in whole Isabel situations and things that went on in this book could have been avoided if people chose to listen. So now I am about to get into my final book for this week, which is going to be Capadonna. I am enjoying that book right now. I have my Kindle with me, so I'm very excited to go ahead and finish that book. Thank God, I'm loving this book. And right now I am at, let me see, I'm at 53%. Yep, that is my whole spiel and everything. Like I said, I'm going to keep it honest with you guys, and I'm not going to, you know, act like I enjoyed the book, and I really did enjoy the book. All right, guys, so that is the end of this week's video. Stay blessed out there in the streets. Make sure you treat others kindly. God willing, I will see you guys in the next Bookish video. All right, bye.